Recent F1 games, including F1 24, are some of the most accessible Formula 1 games ever, thanks in part to a host of driving assists. These driving aids allow sim racers of different skill levels to enjoy F1 24. Without any driving assists, handling an incredibly powerful Formula 1 car can be extremely tricky. But in this video, I'm going to look at all of the driver aids that are available. I'll run through what each assist does, and I'll recommend which to use and which can actually make you slower. Now, the variety of driver aids and assists included in F1 24 are designed to make specific aspects of the game easier for the player. Each assist affects a different part of the game, from controlling your braking inputs to on-screen displays showing you where to position your car. F1 24 gives you full control over which driver aids you use and which you don't, and enabling some while keeping others disabled can be a great way to really customize your sim racing experience. While assists are a great option to have, especially when racing F1 24 for the first time, some of them can slow you down. This is sometimes by design to make the driving a bit easier, or sometimes just a result of how the assist works. If you're new to F1 24 or feel the cars are too tricky to drive, turning on assists will generally result in faster, more consistent lap times compared to struggling with them disabled. However, if you're a returning player or if you feel comfortable driving without assists, turning some of them off can result in faster lap times. Some of the key assists that will slow you down include the steering and braking assist. Both of these will take control over slowing your car down or turning your car around a lap, and both will make your car considerably slower. Other assists that can slow you down include the anti-lock brakes and the traction control. Both of these are much more helpful than the steering and braking assist, as they only interfere during moments when you'd start to lose control. The ABS will kick in just before you lock up a wheel, and the traction control can be enabled just before you spin your wheels while accelerating. Both of these assists can slow you down because they reduce your braking or throttle inputs to prevent wheel spin or brake lockups. By doing this, your car won't be braking or accelerating as efficiently as possible. Of course, for someone struggling with lockups or wheel spin, enabling these assists can result in faster lap times while you learn how to best manage those inputs. It's only when you feel that you have mastered braking and accelerating that you'll be consistently faster with these assists disabled. Deciding which assists to enable and disable is basically a process of elimination. I'd recommend you jump into time trial with most of the assists enabled to see how you get on. If you feel comfortable, start disabling various assists. I'd always recommend disabling the braking and steering assist right away, as these will essentially drive the car for you. I'd also recommend keeping the racing line enabled, as it's a great way to help you learn a track and learn when to brake and accelerate. When trying a new track for the first time, I'd always use this assist to quickly get up to speed. If you're racing on a controller, setting the traction control to medium is a great starting point. This gives you some control over wheel slip under acceleration, but it will prevent you from losing control completely. The same applies to the ABS. It can be hard to not lock your brakes, especially when you race with a controller, so keeping this enabled can be a good option. As you progress and feel more comfortable in F1 24, I'd recommend disabling traction control and ABS completely to have the most amount of control. Now, I do want to run through every single assist in more detail, and I'll look at exactly what it does and whether or not you should be using it. First off, you've got the driving proficiency, which offers a range of different presets. These enable and disable certain driver aids depending on the preset you choose, and this can be a great way to quickly select your driving proficiency without having to customize each assist individually. You then have the steering assist, which will help steer your car for you and keep it on track. This is very invasive and should only really be reserved for the newest players, and I'd recommend most players keep this disabled. The brake assist is very similar to the steering aid, completely takes over braking for you, meaning you can focus on accelerating and steering. I would again recommend disabling this assist for most players. Instead, opt to use the ABS assist to help you manage your braking. Now, talking about ABS, the anti-lock brakes is incredibly helpful. With it disabled, you run the risk of locking your wheels if you brake too heavily or brake hard at slower speeds. Learning to race with this assist disabled can allow you to put in better lap times, and it can also result in shorter braking distances if you get your technique right. However, this is a great driver aid for controller players or those who aren't quite comfortable managing their brake inputs. The same really applies to the traction control. This works in a very similar way to the ABS, however, it focuses on preventing wheel spin when accelerating. These new generation of Formula 1 cars are very prone to spinning their rear wheels when accelerating. Enabling traction control prevents this from happening and can stop you from spinning your car. You can always set this assist to medium for a little bit more freedom, but some partial assistance to stop spins completely. If you are struggling with wheel spin when racing with a controller, try the tips that I recommend in our F124 controller settings video to get more control over your throttle and brake inputs. I'll leave a link to that video in the description below and in a card at the top. You'll then have the dynamic racing line, which is one of my favourite assists and is one that I'd recommend to most players. The racing line highlights where to position your car on track to help you learn the best racing line. It also changes colour to indicate when to brake and accelerate. This assist lets you learn new tracks incredibly fast, and it can also help you identify areas where you're braking too early, for instance, or you may not be taking the correct racing line for a sequence of corners. With the dynamic racing line enabled, you can then change the style of the line between 2D and 3D. This will change the appearance of the line and is purely a personal preference. The gearbox assist affects your transmission. This can be set to automatic, meaning the game will change gear for you, or you can set it to manual, which means you need to change the gears yourself using the paddle shifters on a racing wheel or the buttons on your controller. Opting for manual gears gives you much more control over your car, leading to faster lap times, as you can choose to stretch gears out or to short shift when accelerating. The pit assist option will control your car at any time you're in the pit lane or approaching the pit lane. I like to disable this assist to allow me to really approach the speed limit line a little bit more aggressively. However, this assist really is non-invasive, so many players may want to keep it enabled. It will prevent you from ever getting a speeding in the pit lane penalty, so it can be beneficial. The pit release assist will automatically accelerate out of your pit box for you, bringing you back up to speed. With this disabled, you need to hold the clutch and manually accelerate out of your pit box, which is an easy area to lose a little bit of time if you don't quite time it right. ERS in F124 is a little bit more complex compared to last year's game. You have much more control over your ERS mode during a race this time around. The ERS assist will handle all of your ERS deployment for you, so it's something that you don't need to manage mid-race. This will prevent you from ever running out of ERS, however it can prevent you from manually activating ERS modes at key moments. I do like to have this assist disabled to give me more control over my deployment, however it is another thing you'll need to remember to do during a race, so if you don't quite feel comfortable with that, enabling the ERS assist will just help you out a little bit more. Much like the ERS assist, the DRS assist will automatically activate the DRS when you are within range of the car in front of you during a DRS zone. Again, enabling this will just mean your rear wing opens automatically, and it's one less thing you need to remember to do mid-race. The more helpful driver assists, for me, I think, are the ones that can take over manual actions for you, such as ERS and DRS assist, and also the pit assist. Each of these kind of handles different processes for you, giving you fewer things to actively remember to do while on track. Having these enabled can really help you focus on your driving. Both the ABS and traction control assist are also incredibly helpful, especially for newer players or those racing with a controller. Using a controller can be so much harder than racing with a wheel sometimes, as you'll have much less input range. A controller trigger or analog stick only moves a certain amount compared to the much larger movements of a steering wheel or pedal set, making it harder to apply more detailed small inputs. One of my absolute favourite driving assists, which I've mentioned a couple of times, is the dynamic racing line. I think this is useful for players of all skill levels and can really just speed up the process of learning and mastering a new track. Now let me know in the comments below which assist you're using, if any, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, as it really helps us out. Also, I'm going to be dropping new F124 videos every single day, including setups and other technique videos, so hit that subscribe button if you want to be notified when new videos drop. But for now guys, enjoy F124 and I'll see you on track.